Hi, I'm Luke from BagMe and welcome to the first episode of Making Materials. In today's episode, we're going to show you all about making webbing. Right now, I'm standing in the showroom of Kookil Textile, and Kookil have been supplying the industry with highly technical, high-quality webbing for more than 40 years. They specialize in nylons, polyesters, and recycled materials. So, what is webbing and why is it so important? So in a bag like this, believe it or not, we have about 19 meters of what we call standard weave webbing. So that includes webbing for the shoulder straps, handles, but the most amount of webbings that are going into a bag like this is actually in the binding material that we actually close all of the seams inside the bag with. In this bag, there's about 10 meters of it, believe it or not. But it's not standard weave webbing that we're going to be talking about today. Today, we're actually going to be talking about Jacquard webbing. Now, this webbing is for one of our customers, Maxtrax. And if you're a four-wheel drive enthusiast, you probably already know who Maxtrax is. Otherwise, if you want to learn more, check out the link below and visit their website. So Jacquard webbing is a little bit more complex than standard weave. And with Jacquard webbing machines, we're able to put complex patterns into the webbing, like the word here, Maxtrax. And like some of the webbings that you see behind us, there's some funky patterns in the material. So rather than standing here talking all day, I've just been told that the truck has just arrived delivering the yarn. So let's get down there and I'll walk you through the entire process. So this truck has just arrived this morning, and the first thing we're going to do is unload about 5 tons of orange polyester yarn and get it into the warehouse. So, this is what we've just had delivered. More than 800 rolls of this orange yarn. Now, we can't feed the yarn directly from these rolls into the weaving machine. So we're gonna go over to the other factory, just over here right now, where we're going to transfer this yarn onto big beams so they can be fed into the weaving machines. And I believe Aaron from Nomads Nation is over there waiting for us. So, let's go. Hey, Aaron.
Luke, what's up, man? What do you got here?
Good to see you.
This is for me?
Big cone of yarn for you.
This is going to be turned into webbing?
We're making that one into webbing. Yeah, your first time in the webbing factory.
First time, man. I'm really excited to sink my teeth in, learn the process.
Alrighty, cool. Everybody's waiting for us.
All right.
So let's get started.
Let's do it.
You carry that.
Yeah, this is mine.
Alrighty. So, step one, we're going to get like 50 rolls or 50 cones of this yarn and weave it onto big beams like this.
Okay.
I'll tell you why we do that later. That's going to be done on this machine here. And soon we're going to have 50 cones of this yarn all stacked up into this rack.
Okay.
And then we're going to pull all of that yarn through to the machine and wind it onto that beam.
Very cool.
It all starts here.
So this is the first step of the process?
First step of the process.
Nice.
So these guys can get started.
Let's do it.
All right, looks like it's pretty much done here. So, they're looking for this one. Give it to this guy.
There you are, sir.
So what you see here now is all the cones have been put onto the rack, and all of the yarn on the cones has been threaded through all these parts and is now on its way to the spinning machine. So next, they're going to load those big steel beams I showed you onto this machine. And then they're basically going to wind all of the yarn onto this spinning machine here.
Cool, cool.
Here we are, spinning machine's running, and it's going to take about 45 minutes to fill up this beam with all of the yarn.
That's a lot of yarn. But I'm curious, so why are we transferring it from the cones to the steel beam? What is that accomplishing?
Okay, so if you see the cones now, see all the material sort of coming off it all loose?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because each cone is rolled with one piece of yarn, and the yarn is going this way.
Okay.
Now, when we go to the weaving machines, which you'll see next, we need to have tension on that yarn, and we need the yarn to come off in a straight line as it's going into the machine.
Okay.
So that's the basics why we need to roll that yarn onto the steel beam.
Can I touch it?
You can, because it's polyester.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it was nylon, better have a glove on because nylon is hygroscopic and also sensitive to the oils, so it's not good. But the polyester is fine.
It feels cool.
Cool, right? Okay, let's go and check out the weaving. I'll show you how that works.
All right.
After you, dude.
Oh, good, sir.
So it's actually really good that it's lunchtime now, yeah? Because I'm gonna be able to show you some things that I wouldn't be able to show you when we're working full speed.
Heck
So
yeah.
this machine here, directly after lunch, somebody's gonna come and set this up and thread every single strand of yarn into this machine.
Okay.
Now, actually you see these beams here? They've just been put on.
Yeah, from outside, right?
Yes, these are the ones that have just been spun on the spinning machine outside here. And as you can see, we have all of this yarn coming off here, and it's all under tension because these rolls are quite heavy. Yeah. Now, each roll has about 50 strands, and this is all going to be threaded one by one.
One by one by one by one.
Into this machine. Now, there's about 200 strands of orange and about 50 strands of black to make the Maxtrax webbing. So maybe what I'll show you now is how this machine operates, because this is quite interesting. Yeah. Okay, so this machine here is already set up. As you can see here, all of this yarn is coming in a straight line through this machine here. Basically, you can see that all of this yarn are through little tiny holes in these little guides here.
How many pieces of yarn is that?
So it's about 200 pieces in one strand of webbing, in this Jacquard webbing. Yeah?
That's a lot.
That's a lot. So now you can see that here the machine is now printing the Maxtrax in the webbing, right? So what happens is let me show you. It might be easier.
You're gonna show me?
I'm gonna.
You're gonna man the machine?
I'm gonna man the
Thrusters engaged. Let's go.
Okay, so watch carefully here. I'll just start the machine, and then you'll see all of these little things dancing up and down, bringing the black to the top or to the bottom. So now let me slow it down. So you
Slow
can see
motion
the arm
for me.
coming in and out as the needles are changing position of the yarn to the upside and downside. So here you can see black up. I'll stop there.
Yeah.
So the black is up. That's going to lock that into position and create a black line. Yeah, and then you'll see the black go down again.
Yeah, because the logo's about to be done.
Yeah, the
right?
logo is almost finished.
Cool.
So logo's finished there.
So cool.
Kind of cool, right?
Yeah. Can I push the button?
You want to push the button?
I want to push the button.
Okay, get over here.
The blue one?
Yeah, blue button will start at full speed.
Hold it down or just touch? Just push.
Yeah, push it. Yeah, and then if you hold the red button now, it'll slow it down.
Cool. I got the power. Oh, this is intoxicating.
Alrighty. And then stop.
Very cool.
Good.
Thanks, dude. So Luke, I gotta say, man, like my mind is kind of blown. Like I just can't believe how complex the setup is. Like it's really tedious. There's just a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, there's a lot of time in the setup there.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why we have MOQs for material.
Minimum order quantities, right?
Yeah, that's right. And bigger machines that do fabric are much wider. They take a lot more time to set up as well. Yeah, so not only do we have the setup of the machines, but we have all of the time it takes to deal with the development of a special webbing like that as well.
Like how long did it take you guys to develop this one?
Technically, it took us even a year or more because we were testing this webbing directly in the sun in Australia to test the real UV fastness. Yeah, not in a lab, but in the sun. So it took a long time.
Okay.
You know, when we place orders, there's managers involved, all the sales team are involved, and then you've got this whole process involved in just getting the machine set up before they're running.
Yeah.
And then when they're running, there's people manning the machines or personing the machines.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really important that people understand, especially if they're starting a brand, that they might be buying low quantities of materials. And sometimes the way that we compensate for that is we charge a surcharge or a setup fee. So they're basically paying for the setup of the machine, the time it takes to set up.
Because likely if you're doing less than the MOQ, the factories, these guys, they're not making any profit off of that, right? So they have to, so that makes sense.
Now, if I'm buying a lot of webbing for a lot of brands from a supplier like this, they'll do me a favor every now and then, right?
Sure.
Yeah, but there's always a limit.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, for new brands, I let them know. When we have to order special materials in very small quantities, there's usually going to be a surcharge on top of that to pay for the setup.
It makes sense. There's so much that goes into this. I mean, they're doing 4 hours just setting up the 1,000 threads to make, to even start the webbing. So it's pretty impressive.
But it's great to see, right?
It's really cool. It's very cool.
But now I think we should show you something about the rest of the factory and like where your webbing was made. Because this webbing here that we've got is polyester. It was solution dyed, so that yarn is actually dyed, the raw material is dyed before it's made into yarn. And this is what helps give us the color fastness that Maxtrax need. Whereas your yarn is a nylon, like this white material back here. And it's spun, or it's weaved into webbing before it's dyed.
Okay.
And then it goes through a dyeing process. So I think we go to the other factory and
check it out.
Yeah.
You cool with that?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. So the webbing from your bag was made on machines like these ones.
Okay.
So
it seems like it's a simpler webbing.
Yeah, it's a more standard style weave, let's say. So these machines don't have the same ability to do the complex weaving patterns like the Jacquard machines that the Maxtrax webbing is made on. So right here we have this is actually China recycled. So this is all made from recycled material sourced from China, these ones. And this one here looks like we have a thin binding tape.
How much webbing is in my bag?
In your bag, I think there's 6 to 8 meters.
That's astonishing. I never would have. Well, I guess you're including the binding as well, right?
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Got it. Okay. And this is
so
binding.
Not only the shoulder straps and things like this.
Yeah.
It's the binding that's inside the bag.
Got it.
That covers all the
And that's what this is actual binding right here, right?
Yeah. This is a standard tape.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. This is nylon, so it's dyed after it's woven.
Okay.
Okay. And the dyeing machines are behind us here, and I think we should go and check these
take a
out,
look.
Yeah. Yeah. So over here we've got the nylon dyeing. So actually, there's one process in between. First of all, they'll roll the webbing into rolls because in the bins it's all sort of scrunched up.
You got the rolls right there.
Got the rolls right here.
Rolls Royce.
And then again, it goes through a tension system. Now, the dye is actually put into this big bin over here.
Oh, cool. It's actually being dyed like right here.
Yeah, that's right. So it goes in white, and you'll see over here, this one's coming out green.
Yeah.
So the dye is going into a pool of dye here. So there you go, green webbing. All the dyeing solution is down in here. So then it comes out into this oven, and you can see here it's actually about 87 degrees.
That's hot.
Yeah, it needs to be heated too. Goes through the
oh, so it's like a whole assembly line.
Yeah, and as you can, it's 100 meters of webbing from the start to the end of this.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 strands of webbing.
That's a lot of webbing.
So again, MOQs. The machines need quantity to work properly.
Are they washing it?
Yeah, so here it gets washed. So webbing's getting washed, and through between each washing process it's being rolled. Squeeze out all of the excess washing solution before it gets washed again.
Get them juices out of there.
Then it comes into the dryer or the heat rollers here, and this is like a big ironing system basically. It's like putting tension in the webbing, heating it, drying it. Big iron. And then here we have the cooler.
It's got a cooler.
It's got a cooler. So 60 degrees, just to cool everything down.
Ah, look at that. And it's still moving, it's still going through the assembly line.
Yeah, working its way through. And then last, it's going through a UV treatment just to help set the dyes.
The final touch.
And then into these bins. After here, basically, it's just going to get rolled and packed. And that's happening right here. So you can see these bins get moved to here. And then it's nylon webbing, so they're wearing a glove as well on one hand. And then
we got the finished product.
We have the finished products on the roll like this.
She's a beaut. Bada bing, bada boom.
Then it gets delivered to the factory and sewn into bags like yours.
So I can't help but notice, like on that dyeing assembly line, there's probably a lot of like chemicals in the process. How are those handled?
Actually, that's all handled right out this door here.
Yeah.
So let's go and have a look.
Check it out.
So it's maybe not the most beautiful part of the factory, but it's definitely one of the most necessary parts of the factory.
How so?
So Kookil, they're looking after some of the most reputable brands in the industry in the world. And the expectations are that the product is clean of chemicals and meets the highest environmental standards, like even how they deal with the waste here. So they've spent millions of dollars on this system here to treat all of the water, to get all of the chemicals out.
And you said they're Blue Sign certified as well, right?
Yeah, Blue Sign certified.
We take a look?
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, so basically these are the ponds where all of the wastewater gets treated in. So it comes into primary ponds, goes through one stage and then goes into the next pond, clean it to the next stage. And there's, I'm not exactly sure, but I think there's like 6 or 8 ponds here for cleaning the wastewater.
So this is like a huge operation, but like, what's the alternative to this?
The alternative to this?
Yeah.
There is no alternative.
Okay, touche.
What I mean by that is that all of the suppliers we work with, they need to meet the highest environmental standards. So this is what needs to be done. In the past, lots of companies would pour chemicals into the rivers, and we saw what that did to the planet, right?
Yeah.
So it would be great if all of the dyes and inks for all materials could be made out of like organic soybeans or something like that.
That'd be tight.
Yeah. But it's not the reality of the world we live in. So this is what needs to be done. And that's another reason why I work with Kookil Webbing, right? Like, I just know anytime customers need to test materials for chemicals and things, we just never have any problems.
It seems like you got a pretty high standard here.
Yeah.
So is there anything else in the process that we gotta, kind of do?
Actually, I'll be coming back here next week to check out like QC and then heat treatment, rolling, packing, the webbing. But apart from that, you've seen everything else that we're going to look at today.
Well, dude, it's been such a cool experience. Like we're making a backpack together, and I'm learning so much about this process. But like, I kind of always took webbing for granted. It's like the unsung hero of the backpack. Like, there's so much that goes into it, and yeah, it's been pretty mind blowing. So I appreciate you showing me around.
Yeah, good man.
All right, man. So I'll catch you next week at the factory.
Yes, for Fyro production. Looking forward. Okay. Okay. All right.
Take it easy, bud.
So here we are, we're back at Kookil, and it's now 5 machines running full speed here. Next step in the process is going to be heat treatment. So I think we go over to the other factory and see what's going on over there. One of the final processes we're going to go through here now is the heat treatment of the webbing, where the webbing is going to come out of these buckets and fed into the heat chamber here. And the idea is the webbing is going to be held under tension. It's going to be fed through this machine. And you can see these rollers here. The webbing's going to be going up and down through here. We can't open the door right now because it's about 120 degrees in there right now. And the idea is the webbing is going to be steamed and heat treated. And basically, it's going to give the webbing a better structure. And the end result is going to look a little something like this. So here we have untreated webbing, and in my right hand here we have treated webbing. And you can see the treated webbing is a lot more shiny. It's actually shrunken quite a bit. We have a couple of millimeters smaller, and it has a much nicer finish. But also it has a better structure. So if I crunch this one up and crunch this one up, you can see this holds its structure a lot better. And basically that's why we heat treat the webbing. Before we roll up this webbing and get it sent out to the factory, there's going to be a 100% QC inspection on this to make sure there's no defects in the weave. And we're going to head down to the QC room to see how that's done. So the team here has a really important role to play because they need to check every meter of webbing that we produce here. Now, the first thing that they're going to be checking for is just general consistency. So if there's any loose threads in the webbing, like small things, they can be trimmed and heated and cleaned up. Any bigger problems, they'll literally be
cut out of the webbing, and then they'll tie the webbing together and continue. We're also checking for the quality of the Maxtrax logo here. We have to make sure that it's the right width. And for us, it's very important that we have the same distance between the logos every time as well. So they're not checking every single logo, but every few they're measuring and making sure that the consistency is good throughout the whole production. Last thing they're checking is the width of the webbing, because as you saw, pre-treatment, it's about 2 millimeters wider, and after treatment, we're getting down to 25 millimeters wide. So the webbing that passes the QC is now going to be sent outside again, and it's going to be rolled up and packaged and sent off to the factory, ready for us to produce the Maxtrax leashes. And that's how we make Jacquard webbing. Now you can see it's a pretty complex process, and this is why MOQs are really important on materials like this. If you've enjoyed this content and you want to see more episodes of Making Materials, click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and YouTube will let you know when the next video is ready. This, I think, belongs on the shelf over here. Look at that.